Welcome to the ExoDexa channel. I'm Dr. Leah Haynes, and I am here with my favorite collaborator again, Nolan Bushnell from Atari, Chuck E. Cheese, and now the motivation and gamer behind ExoDexa and all that we're trying to do to impact education. So today, Nolan, you suggested an idea to me. We actually wrote about it in our book that I think we should share with our viewers about the hen and chicks model. Do you want to explain what that is?
Yeah, I'm being, one of my hats is business. Where are costs? How can you deliver more and spend less? And so I looked at the typical school system, and a lot of times, what if you were going to have a computerized acceleration of learning, it gives you a chance to save a lot of money and perhaps even have better resources. So, in our model, we believe that we are going to be able to teach kids everything that they learn in high school in 6 or 8 months. People say, huh? When that happens, what are you going to do? And the answer is, I believe that we need to think about how to create powerful human beings. And that means that there are a lot of things that they're not being taught that would really be beneficial. So how do we do that in some ways? And the hen and chicks model postulates that there are resources, a sound studio, a video studio, a chemistry lab, a physics lab, um, a lot of things that, quite frankly, are expensive. And but like in college, you're not in lab every day. You only have to be in lab, I would have labs for one 3 hour lab on a Tuesday for a class. And that was enough because you'd have your book learning, your lectures and what have you for 4 days a week and then one day of a lab. So I thought maybe since a big expense for schools is transportation, buses, what if we were to have a one-room schoolhouse, a storefront, a maybe even the basement of a church, where you could have 20, 30, 40 kids, multiple ages, that are all just a walk away. That's the chick. Those are the chicks. Those are small little pods. Most of the learning is being done in those with computers. Teachers there to direct the class and keep the wheels on. And then at appropriate times, once they've learned certain things, we have a central repository where the labs are, where there's a sound studio, where what are we doing today? We're creating podcasts. Well, why not have a system with good sound and good lighting so the kids can start doing their own podcast? Why not have a situation where kids are taught how to write a book and publish it on Amazon? What about a chemistry lab where not just, you know, inorganic chemistry, but we start to get into the organic chemistry? Because I actually believe one of the big fields coming forward is going to be biology and bioengineering. I mean, bioengineering in some ways could be thought of as the building blocks of the future, not just in healthcare, but think about growing things that are universally nutritious. You know, growing beef in a vat instead of on the range. Um, Things like that I think are going to be important, but it takes a certain amount of education. So the hen provides those resources that are shared among maybe 1,000 kids, and with resources that are appropriate. And I also believe that one of the things that all kids should know how to do is Unity, which is a software program that I judged a series of games that were done in Unity by 8-year-olds, and they were good. And I just think that moving kids from being game players to game makers is is a good mental exercise that could be helpful. Everybody should be able to create a website, because that's the world we live in. And so all of these things, I think, conspire to create demands that could be expensive, but I think by sharing them, they can be be dropped in cost on a per kid basis. And so that really opens up the world where it's not about being getting more money. It's about getting more efficient. And that's one of the things I'm trying to do.
Yeah, how we use the money. And what I like about that idea too, Nolan, if we can teach what we need the kids to learn faster and they have this extra time, what about incubators? What about high school kids starting their dream organization, their dream company or dream project to market? Because you can, under the supervision of your teachers, develop something that might cost you $200 or $300 to launch. And then if it fails, it's not a big loss. It's within the system and you've learned so much. If it succeeds, you've started your career and your business while you're still in high school.
Exactly. Well, Michael Dell started his computer company in his dorm room in college, first year, you know,
Really?
so it was good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are lots of, this is back to the trying to teach kids and move 30 kids through something at the same time. It's unnecessary. And I think in this environment, again, we still have the teacher, we still have need for the teacher in the room. It's what the teacher gets to do instead of what they have to do.
Precisely. And the statistics are that half the teachers who are educated in, who get a teaching certificate drop out within 5 years because I think that the reality of the way the classroom is structured is so different than expectations. People who love kids, who want to see them succeed and see how so many of them are thwarted at every turn. And I think I could I could riff a little bit on college where I think a lot of times kids are encouraged to go to college that really should not. That their interest isn't there, or the subjects that they're being taught are not appropriate for a successful life. You know, I mean, how many master's degrees are making coffee at Starbucks?
Yeah. Yeah, I have clearly I'm a big fan of higher ed, but I feel like it should be available to anyone who wants it, but it shouldn't be pushed on those who it's not right for.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be so expensive that, you know, if you are carrying $100,000 worth of student debt, think about how that affects your ability to buy a house, start a family, or start a business. and I think that's problematic, you know?
Yeah. It has become available to the elite and not as easily available to even middle class these days.
Correct. And
Well, I think we've exhausted this for now, Nolan, and I think we're going to revisit the structure of education on podcasts in the future. But for now, I think like thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope you will subscribe to the channel, and we hope you'll join us again for the next podcast.
I just thought of something. A guy was driving too fast to the airport, and he ran over an armadillo. And he thought, oh, I can make chili out of that. I'm going to my sister's house. So he went back, picked up the armadillo, put it in a plastic bag, got to the airport, got on the airplane, went to put it in the overhead. The flight attendant says, you can't put that up there. He says, why not? It's carry on. Sorry about that.
Pa-dum-pum.
Boom. It's very interesting. Um, I've told that joke and actually gotten an upgrade in an aircraft, in an airline before.
Oh, hold on to that one then.
But if the flight attendant or the ticket agent comes from New York, Boston, what have you, they don't know about roadkill. They don't know carrion, and
Right.
so they don't get the joke.
Yeah, I'm
But
a farm kid from Canada. I got it.
if you got a farm kid or somebody from Texas, they're on my page right away.
Right.
Anyway,
Thanks
so
a million.
thanks for joining us, and on this quest to fix education by thinking differently. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and you'll get more of our wacky thoughts.